Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my 2026 planner lineup. Let's start off with my books that I'm using as actual planners. So I have these two here. Let's start with my Hobonichi Weeks. So this is my 4th year in a Weeks, first time in a Mega. I in the past have used this notebook for all of my planning. I'm moving into a new era of my life, and so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to navigate that in my planners. In the first part on my monthly, I am keeping this the same, where I just write everything, all of my events, all of my plans, so that I can reference all of it at the same time and I don't have to go hunting through different notebooks to see what I am trying to find. It's just all here. So that's staying the same. And then in my weekly pages, I'm still trying to figure this out. So here's where things really change for this book. So like I said, I was using this as my everything planner. Now I'm writing my professional to-dos, my project to-dos in this weekly view, and then, as I'll show you in a minute, this is my personal planner now. So I'm still, figuring out how I want to do this and how I want to use this, but that's what I'm going to be using it for. And then my notes pages are just reference pages, lists, collections, the typical things I feel like people put in their weeks pages, trackers, all that. And then I'm also using it for notes like this. So that's how I'm using my Hobonichi Weeks. If you would like a more in-depth video on this book or any of my other books, please let me know and I would love to film that for you. So I'm going to move this one out of the way and then we can talk about my weekly supplement. So I decided to get the weekly supplement because I was in an A5 Hobonichi Cousin last year and I really loved it. I loved using the weekly pages. And so I wanted to see how much being in the smaller one would be different. And I decided to actually try using it as a planner. I used my weekly pages in my Cousin more as a journal, but I'm trying out the planner, using it as an actual planner first. So I'm using this for my personal tasks, chores, things I want to do for myself, that kind of a thing. And then I'm also doing some slight memory keeping or tracking. I'm tracking what we ate, what we watched, and then I'm writing my gratitude down here in the bottom portion. And so far I'm really loving the way this looks, and I'm also loving having like my personal things related to myself in one place and then my work stuff separate, because I've never done that before, and so I'm enjoying it. So those are my two planners. Then we move on to my journals. So my first journal is an A6 Hobonichi. This is the whole year. I'm using this as my daily journal / joy journal. And so what I mean by joy journal is I'm specifically only writing things in here that bring me joy and make me happy. Kind of my highlight of the day type of thing. So here we watched The Cat Returns and I put a picture in here. And then we had some soup and I wrote down a recipe. And then I read Winter Hours by Mary Oliver and I wrote some quotes. So it's just whatever was a highlight of the day, because there's not really enough space to like track everything that happened in the day. And I also don't want to bulk it up too much with like pictures, even though I have a picture here, but that's not going to happen very often. So yeah, that's how I'm using this notebook, just for things that bring me joy. Next up we have my Moleskine, and I have it in a Hobonichi cover, even though as you can see it has a lot of extra room. It doesn't really fit, but I have it in here because this is one of the ones with like a canvas fabric-y cover, and it was getting smudged very easy before I put the cover on it, so I popped it in the cover to protect it because it's this vibrant green and I don't want it to get dirty and gross. This is my long form journal, and I just got started in here, just a couple pages, so like literally 2 pages. Not much to mention here. Probably not going to show this notebook again on my channel, but I think it's important to have. So this is kind of different from my A6 because it is my home for all of my emotions and feelings and processing whenever I want to. Not a daily journal, but something that is very important and moving when I do it. That is my long form journal. Next up we have my Traveler's Notebook. This is the Love and Trip edition. So beautiful. And here I have my memory keeping journal. So this is where I come here. I have some commonplacing in here. I love if a certain quote or poem or whatever stands out to me. I love having that in the context of like everything else I'm doing in my life, and so that's why I don't have a dedicated commonplace book, but you kind of see me scattering it throughout my notebooks because I think it's really interesting to see what quotes stand out to me in a particular time in my life. And I love seeing, like when I read back through my books, I love seeing what I was reading alongside what I was doing in my life, if that makes sense. Anyway, so yeah, some commonplacing, journaling of notes on a book I was reading, some photos. So this is wherever I go more into detail about my days when something special happens. I want to put down some pictures. That's what this journal is for. So honestly, it might take me like all year to fill this journal up, which would be totally fine. It's just for those like big moments that I want to commemorate. That is my memory keeping journal. And then last but not least, I have my 5-year Midori. So I got this at the start of last year and I did not keep up with it very well in the last half of the year. Although I did. This is my 2025 weeks and I did keep lots of notes here where I was keeping track of what was happening in the day, so I can backfill this. Will that happen? I don't know. When will it happen? I also don't know. But I can do it if I want to, and I want to do a better job of keeping up with this notebook. So my 5-year is still something that I want to do every day. It's not that much, but for some reason it feels really hard. So if anyone knows the science behind why having a book like this is so hard, please let me know, because I would love some tricks to making it easier for me. Because I know that like in 5 years when it's all filled out, I'll be really happy. It's just today, it's hard. Thank you so much for coming along and listening to me babble on about notebooks. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, please subscribe. I can't wait to take you along this journey with me this year of working in all these books. I hope you had a lovely day, and I will see you next time.